I was talking to my Singhani. Obviously, we're in a very reflective stage right now. I've just told you, Jav's been diagnosed with cancer. We're going through chemo and all these sorts of crazy adventures that are going to test us. And I said, one of the things that's absent is Gurmat Vichar. It's very easy to do Gurmat Vichar when you're in a strong place. But when you're in a difficult situation, it's the things that you have fostered, it's the habits that you have built in the easy times that they say train hard, fight easy, right? And whilst we're quick to blame our children for the absence of the qualities that we would wish to see within them, we're not quick to take ownership of the fact that we haven't fostered those gun in our own houses. We all emanate, all of the gun emanate, we're all in the hands, quite literally and spiritually, of our mothers. Don't think for a second that warriors are born and cultivated in any place other than the hands of our mothers. And if our mothers find the Gurkha Sahib foreign to their hands, how can we be anything but expectant if the Shabad is foreign from our children's minds? परम सत्कार जोग गुरु खालसा साध संगत जी अज वज के फतेह बुलाओ वाहे गुरु जी का खालसा वाहे गुरु जी की फतेह. We're all blessed to be in the company of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, as we are blessed to come together and have a chance to do vichar, to reflect upon the Shabad, that we can have that connection, that we can grow towards a higher understanding of who we really are, what purpose it is we have come into this world, why it is that no matter how much we achieve within this world, struck by the entanglements of this world, we can never truly be free till we look beyond this world. And firstly, Sangat, just want to make an apology at your charan. The Katha last month, which is something I'm really passionate about, I had to cancel the Katha last month because our Singhani got diagnosed with cancer. So it's been a bit of a crazy time. We're learning about all these new things and undertaking a bit of a battle ourselves. So it's been a bit of a crazy time. That said, you're the Sangat of the Guru and you come first in front of everyone and all. And so I offer you my humble apologies because there's no excuse for the Katha not having to be covered. Jasmeet Singh you very kindly covered the Katha. But once again, I ask for your forgiveness and your blessings. We're blessed to have a chance to come together today to reflect upon one of the most important figures, Mahapurukh, Sant Brahmgyani, teachers, lights, examples that have ever walked upon this earth. Sant Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji Khalsa Pindrawale. What can we say? The Mangal that we began, Santan ki mehma kavan vakhano. Guru Maharaj says, what can we say? Santan ki mehma, what praise can we say? Kavan vakhano, what can we speak that will be worthy of those beings that are enamored by the Naam? Guru Maharaj explains this. They say, Tu Sultan kaha homiya, teri kavan vadai. Tu Sultan kaha homiya, teri kavan vadai bhi. You're an emperor. Maharaj talks to Parmeshwar Vaheguru. They go, but all of my words amount to praise. When I praise you, all I can do is call you a king. Meaning I'm trying. I can praise you, but you're an emperor and all of the limits of my ability to praise limit the ability to reach the status of a king. But how can I do any of your vadiyai? Santan ki mehma kavan vakhano. Maharaj says, Agad bodh kich mit nahi janno. Be those that are beyond our understanding, their level of dungyai, the level of the depths of who they are, is something that we cannot know. And the way that it was put in Katha once, and I really found that really beautiful, is that a fish can go into the ocean. It can understand that the ocean exists, but it can never be said to know the depths of the ocean. And I think that is one way that we can bend our mind to some level of understanding of just how much we can't understand who it is that we're going to speak of today. And just as that one cannot be praised fully and their extent cannot be fully known, we're going to touch upon the glimpses, we're going to touch upon instances from Sant Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji's life. Now, what motivated me to want to do this talk is I'm very grateful. Sometimes Sangat, they reach out on social media. So Sangat reach out from across the world and they ask questions and we do reach out on questions that come up in the Katha. And I was really fortunate to have someone ask a question once. They say, Amandeep Singh, when you do Katha, this name comes up a lot. You always say this name, Sant Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji Khalsa Pindrawale, they say this. Or in their Tika, it's written that this occurred. Or in the Katha of Sant Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, And they say, we noticed that you constantly say this, but why is it that you say that person? And it got me thinking that whilst we're quoting their tika, while we're talking about the gyan that they've passed on, in this generation particularly, there isn't a great deal known about those great saints, Sant Ishar Singh Ji, Sant Baba Atar Singh Ji, and of course Sant Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji Khasa Pindranwale. So the thought in my mind was, Amandeep Singh, most of the things that we share emanate from that khajana, emanate from that great saint and their teachings that they recorded. So why not do a katha about them to do that, so we can do that, we can show that appreciation through explaining their own jivani and some of the examples from their own Sikhya that they shared with us. So Sad Sangat Ji, there was a time many years ago, hundreds of years ago, when Guru Gobind Singh Ji was upon this earth. And when they were upon this earth, they would go to a certain village where they were received with so much sadkar by the Sangat. They gave the boon and the blessing that within the lineage of this house, within the lineage of this house, a great saint will be born that will illuminate many souls. And that bachan having been laid, it was within that lineage that Baba Roor Singh and Mata Anand Kaur were blessed to have Sant Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji come into their house. This is in 1902. Now just have a quick moment here. Baba Roor Singh, the father of Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji Khasa Pindranwale, it is said by some that they had the whole of Guru Granth Sahib Ji and Dasam Granth memorized. This is the level of Khoj that we're talking about. These aren't ordinary beings. Mata Anand Kaur, who took Amrit, from the time that she would take Amrit, would do 25 Japji Sahib the part a day. Why is this so important, Sad Sangat Ji? Because we place so much emphasis on an individual and we make these wishes, these requests that our children are born with a gun. And whilst these ardasa, when they're laid before Maharaj, will always be heard, we can make that effort in our own jivan to cultivate such an environment, to enamor ourselves in such an environment within our own homes that we can help those gun prosper. We often hear about our friends, we often hear about our elders, and they talk about the lack of qualities in their children. And whilst we're quick to blame our children for the absence of the qualities that we would wish to see within them, we're not quick to take ownership of the fact that we haven't fostered those gun in our own houses. I'm going to say that again, because it's a hard truth. It's easy to point the finger at a child who is short in certain qualities, if they lack truth, honesty, integrity. And we're so quick to look at the absence of gun and say he's dishonest, or he lacks integrity, or he hasn't got compassion. But have we ever thought whether we are fostering those qualities in the way that we are raising our children, in the amount of Shabad that we are vibrating upon with our own houses? And this is something that we spoke about in the car on the way here. I was talking to my Singani. Obviously, we're in a very reflective stage right now. I've just told you, Jav's been diagnosed with cancer. We're going through chemo and all these sorts of crazy adventures that are going to test us. And I said, one of the things that's absent is Gurmat Vichar. I'm going to be very honest with you. It's very easy to do Gurmat Vichar when you're in a strong place, when things are popping and your mate phones you, says, let's go for a coffee, let's talk about Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. But when you're in a difficult situation, it's the things that you have fostered, it's the habits that you have built in the easy times, that they say train hard, fight easy, right? In the Akhada, this comes up a lot. So Mata Anand Kaur, looking at Kaljug, hearing the teachings of what Guru Gobind Singh Ji speaks about, the nature of how this world is going to be, they're preparing for those times, and says Mataji would do 25 Japji Sahib a day, having taken Amrit. But what an example of this, what an example could be had for us. Sad Sangat Ji, we all emanate, all of the gun emanate, we're all in the hands, quite literally and spiritually, of our mothers. Don't think for a second that warriors are born and cultivated in any place other than the hands of our mothers. And if our mothers find the Gutka Sahib foreign to their hands, how can we be anything but expectant if the Shabbat is foreign from our children's minds? I'm going to say that again. If the Shabbat is so foreign from our mother's own minds and hands, if the idea of picking up a Gutka Sahib within our own house and vibrating upon the Shabbat is so foreign from our own mothers, how can we expect those qualities, those gun, to manifest within our own children? Mata Anand Kaur, we pay homage to you. it is through your blessings, through your divine guidance, that Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji would have received that gun. Vaheguru, 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 Mata Anand Kaur Ji, who would cultivate such a home that by the time Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji was 7 years old, they had memorized their Nitanam, they had completed their Santya, and they were actually an Akhand Paathi, meaning within the pen, whenever the Akhand Paath was taking place, Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji at the age of 7 years old, he was one of the Singhs that would read the Akhand Paath. These are the mothers that we need, that we desperately need, that will get the Singhs off the subs bench. But let's have it straight. It's the mothers that set the fragrance of our houses. Well, that's always been the case. If we have the courage to understand that whilst outwardly it might look like the Singhs are leading the way, when it comes to cultivating that energy within the house, it's the mothers. There are so many examples of that energy, that female energy within the panth, where the mothers have opened the doors and the Singhs have walked through. Mata Anand Kaur Ji would raise such a Gyani at the age of 7 years old, Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji Khasa Pindrawale. They would be an Akhand Paathi. They would have to put a gaddi underneath on the takht. So when Maharaj is sitting, they'd have to put a pillow there and they would prop up Giani Gurbachan Singh as they could reach. A normal Paathi would read 30 angs an hour. And so within a roll of 2 hours, they would read 60 angs, 60 turnings, if you will, of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. 60 limbs of Guru Granth Sahib Ji would be read. Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji Khasa Pindrawale, they would read 80 angs at the age of 7 years old. They would go and they would spend time in the Jatha. They would meet Sant Sundar Singh Ji, who would go on to become their Ustad. Sant Sundar Singh Ji was the Jathadari of the Tiksal before them. And Sant Sundar Singh Ji, we haven't got time to speak about them. We've got so many gems to share on Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji. Suffice to say one thing, I think is so beautiful. The last 3 bachans that Sant Sundar Singh Ji gave the Sangat, which we're going to just share upon and touch upon now, you'll see how these bachans have been listened to by Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, taken within their heart and acted out within their jivan. They would say, whenever you meet a sadhu sant, whenever you meet someone who is a spiritually elevated person, even if they're not of the Sikh diaspora, show them satkar. Be those that are able to look beyond this world and at least try, in whichever way they might, to cultivate a dharmi way of living. Pame Hindu, pame Musliman, have satkar for that person. Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji would hear from Sant Sundar Singh Ji also, they would say, never use your knowledge to beat people down. Gyan, knowledge, is not there to make people feel stupid. If you know more than somebody else, that's not a license to beat people with. Sad Sangat Ji, we would do well to remember that. As we come and we listen to Katha, we get a little bit righteous and we turn around, and the very people that have raised us and fed us and clothed us, that may not know what we've just heard in the Katha, we're very quick with our tongues to rebuke them and say, you don't know this, you don't know that. Sad Sangat Ji, Maaf Karna, Amandeep Singh, we should have a little bit of reflection and a memory of where you come from. We're very quick to speak harshly from words of truth, apparently. We're very quickly to speak harshly to someone because we've got this truth on our side. Sad Sangat Ji, there's nothing higher than truthful living. Truthful living, having satkar, having integrity, having the love and the nimrata in the way that you conduct yourself will be higher than any words that you can speak. And Sundar Singh Ji would say, never use Gyan to belittle people. That's not what the purpose of Gyan. The purpose of Gyan is to help us to realize who we really are inside. The purpose of Gyan is to help us to become liberated from this world, not as a weapon. Other people of other faiths might see it as such. I'm not here to denigrate anybody, but you'll know from your own examples, you can see people trying to challenge Bhai Jagraj Singh Ji in Speaker's Corner, you'll know what happened to them when they're seeing what their knowledge is being used for. And Bhai Jagraj Singh Ji would look back at them only with love and go, yo, I don't know what game you're playing, but I'm playing the game of love. So Sant Sundar Singh Ji would give that teaching, never use your gyan, never use knowledge as a weapon to beat someone with. That's not the purpose of gyan. And then the third and finally, they would say we should stick together, we should always support each other, we should always have that love for each other, that we are a family. Wafadari, that loyalty that comes from knowing that we are one. Sant Sundar Singh Ji would give these teachings, Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji would live those teachings. And we will see in the limited time, we've got so much to share. The Khajana is so great on the topic of Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji. I'm not sure how much we're going to get to go through. Maybe we might even have to just continue this. So Sant Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, they would listen to the kathas, they would learn, they would fall in love. When they were around 20 years old, they would go and they would ask Sant Sundar Singh Ji, I want to join the Jatha, I want to become part of the Tiksal. And Sant Sundar Singh Ji would say to Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, what is it that you want? And Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji would say, Maharaj, not in my mind, these words come to mind, the words of Guru Ram Das Ji Maharaj. Mere meet Gurudev, Moko Ram Naam Pragas. They would say, my friend, my Gurudev, Moko Ram Naam Pragas, give me the gift of Naam. That's Guru Ram Das Ji Maharaj talking to Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj. That's not what Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji said, but it perfectly enshrines their reply. They say, you're asking me what I want, why I come to you to join the Jatha. I ask you of this, please bless me with Naam. And Sant Sundar Singh Ji would give a teaching that's just as relevant to us today and will be relevant to our children and our children's children to come. They would say, Giani Ji Gurbachan Singh, know this to be true. You're asking for Naam. The only place that you're going to get, that you can get Naam, is from the Panj Pyaare. Akho Satta Naam Sri. Sant Sundar Singh Ji, as great as they were, and great they were, they would say, that which you ask for, I can't give. The only place where you can go and seek that which you wish for is the same place that Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj themselves knelt before, which is the Panj Pyaare. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj himself went and bent the knee before the Panj Pyaare and they said, give us this daat of Naan, give us this daat, this gift of Amrit. And so it was, 300 years, 250 years later, Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, the rules haven't changed. You might hear otherwise because people have got so many views and opinions these days. But in the house of the Guru, let's be straight, it's not our opinions that count, it's the red of the Guru. To come before the Guru and to bend the knee and ask the Guru for Naam is the way that the great saints have walked. And why would we want to walk any way other than that of those great saints? Sadh Sangat Ji, if we're lucky enough to have been blessed with the daat of Naam, to be blessed and inaugurated into the caste of Panth, if we're lucky enough to have been blessed with Shastra by Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, to have the gift of Naam, that's not, again, a right for us to beat other people with our status. The journey doesn't end there, that's the beginning. When you're inducted into that school of the Guru, of the Tiksal, if you will call it that, that's the beginning. And we say, thank you, Maharaj. That we should wake up every day, and Amandeep Singh, you should do this too. But oftentimes we wake up, we forget, we're so lucky to be within the Jatha of the Guru. We're blessed to have taken Amrit and have a chance to sit before the Guru. And not that we're worthy, but the Guru in their kindness has allowed it to be such. So it was at Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, they would take Amrit and they would go on to undertake such feats that their knowledge of Gurbani became unparalleled by anybody within the Panth. On one occasion, there was a great Singh. His name was Kartar Singh, not Sant Kartar Singh that would follow them, but Kartar Singh Premi. They were a great Gurmukh. And they would say, Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, whenever I'm doing Katha, whenever I'm doing Vichar, I might say a Pankti, and you can tell me exactly where that Pankti is in Maharaj, what Ang it is on, what the Uttanika is, what the history of it is, and what the meaning, what the art of that is. How do you know so much, Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji? And Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji would remain silent on the point, but it would become known that the reason that Sant Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji had so much knowledge of Gurbani is that they had undertaken 500 Sahej parts. They had completely read Guru Granth Sahib Ji from beginning to end 500 times. They had listened to 4 complete Katha of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj from Sundar Singh Ji themselves. Now we say those things so easily. These stats, as they get reduced to, are said so flippantly off the tongue. Let's just look at this for 1 second. So what is the Katha of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj? When we say Katha, when Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, the Katha is being read, we have something called Ladivar Katha, which is when one party is having the Katha done. Right now, Giani Ji, who's doing Katha before us, they're doing the Katha of Suraj Prakash Granth. Every day, Guru Pratap, Suraj Granth Katha, Ladivar Katha is happening, and then the next day it continues. When the Katha is happening of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, the party will read one line, and then the Katha Vajik, the Singh that is given the seva of trying to explain it, will go through the arth, will go through the meaning of that line. And some lines of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj have got beyond unlimited numbers of arth. Like in one tika, there's like 20, 30 different arth of one bhangti. Yeah? So you can understand how the depth of knowledge we have here. Again, to give you a real life example, a few years ago, me and my brother here, Joginder Singh, who I'm very blessed to have in my company today, we attempted to do some sort of justice to the Ladivar Katha of Japji Sahib. There's 1,430 ang in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. It took us 9 months to do the Katha of Japji Sahib. Sant Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji Khasa Pindranawale listened to the complete Katha of the whole of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj 4 times. Sadh Sangat Ji, during the course of their life, they would go on to complete the Katha and share that Katha with the Sangat 27 times. So each effort, if you will, each seva would take about a year. So 27 years of their life were dedicated to doing the Katha of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. Now to add to the mix, what mix are we talking about? To add to this understanding is, whose Katha are they doing? This is probably the most important point. This is why Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji Khasa Pindranawale is such a pivotal Sikh that we should all have in our houses. Sant Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji's lineage, their line of teachers go back to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. So I practice litigation. I've practiced for about 15 years. I'm a consultant now. I'm not full-time. But when I was practicing full-time, it was incumbent upon me to always seek out the highest authority when I was presenting it to the court. That nobody would say, but you've got the lower authority, or maybe we can argue a point. We have to find the system of precedent where you go and you find the highest case and you'd apply that to your circumstance and say, look, you can't argue with this, because this precedent binds these circumstances. So Sant Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, the teachings that they're providing to the Sangat, they were delivered by Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj themselves at Damdama Sahib to 48 Singhs. By Daya Singh Ji did a request to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. This again is a katha in its own right, so we're going to just touch upon this now. But in essence, Bhai Daya Singh Ji did a benti. They did a benti to Maharaj, said, Maharaj, we don't understand the meanings of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, just as sometimes when we come to the Gurdwara, we don't understand. Bhai Daya Singh Ji did a benti for those generations sitting before them and also for us now. They said, Maharaj, please, can you explain to us what Gurbani means? And at a later time, Guru Gobind Singh Ji at Damdama Sahib, over 9 months, 9 days and 9 kari, they would recite, in the mornings, they would recite Gurbani from their memory. And this Baba Deep Singh Ji, Bhai Mani Singh Ji were charged with writing it down. In the evenings, Guru Gobind Singh Ji themselves would do the katha of those shabads that Bhai Mani Singh Ji and Baba Deep Singh Ji had recorded when they were being dictated. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji spoke the whole of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj Mujwani from their mind, from their memory. And Bhai Mani Singh Ji would write. They were the Lakhari. They would write. And Baba Deep Singh Ji, their seva was to arrange the pens and the paper and the ink. In that time, all the Singhs that heard that katha, those 48 Singhs, they all became mukt. Baba Deep Singh Ji and Bhai Mani Singh Ji, apart from Baba Deep Singh Ji, Bhai Mani Singh Ji, the rest of them, they became alope, they left their bodies because they'd become completely contented. Baba Deep Singh Ji, Bhai Mani Singh Ji, they were told that there was more seva for them to do. Bhai Mani Singh Ji and Baba Deep Singh Ji, they said to Maharaj, Maharaj, we're in Anand. We've spent 9 months with you. How can you send us anywhere? How can anything be worth living after spending every day in your presence? But how are we going to feel Anand without you? And Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj said to Bhai Mani Singh Ji and Baba Deep Singh Ji, they said to Bhai Mani Singh Ji, even if you're cut limb from limb, you will still remain in Anand. Baba Deep Singh, even if your head is cut from your body, I will still be with you. And of course, Bhai Amandeep Singh Ji would know they would get chopped into 72 pieces for refusing to convert to Islam. And Baba Deep Singh Ji, defending the sanctity of Darbar Sahib, when the Mughals were trying to defecate and defile the sanctity of Darbar Sahib, they would have their head cut from their body, but they would reach the Darbar, where you've seen that place when you go to Darbar Sahib, where their cease was placed by their own hand. So those teachings that were passed down, that was the formation of the Tiksal. We're not talking about the Tiksal today in as much detail as perhaps some of us may need to listen to. That's a different Katha for a different day. Suffice to say that at that time, that school was created, that university, that Tiksal was created, and that lineage from Guru Gobind Singh Ji to Bhai Amandeep Singh Ji, Baba Deep Singh Ji, that school of teachings, just as Guru Gobind Singh Ji shared that to them, was kept alive till Sant Sundar Singh Ji's time. And then Sant Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, they heard those 4 kathas, just as they had been narrated by Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, and then they would propagate that katha prolifically. They would be such a prolific provider of Sikh education that thousands, tens of thousands would hear the katha of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj from the mouth of Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, and thousands would take Amrit. On one Amrit Sanchar in the Jatha, 50,000 people took Amrit because they would fall in love. Sad Sangat Ji, we had such an amazing experience. I'm going to be forever grateful for having had the chance to just touch upon what that vibration must have been like. To just go through the first 6 angs of Guru Granth Sahib Ji and do the Katha of Japji Sahib, which is all uploaded, 8 angs. Maaf karna Sad Sangat Ji. To go through just the first 8 angs of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj over 9 months, just a few years ago, we were in Anand as well. If you want to check out the Katha, understood by us from Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, has been uploaded onto SoundCloud. They nicked it, they put it on the South London Sikh Youth page. It's got nothing to do with South London, bruv. But anyway, we are where we are. But the Katha has been so well received. Even today, people message and they say they've listened to the Katha several times, and it's helped them just as it's helped me. If there's anything that we want to know about Sikhi Sad Sangat Ji, there's so much misinformation today. And in an age of AI, where people are taking one person's face and another person's words and making them one, we have to be very careful what we are learning from. The best intended is not necessarily the most well received if we throw caution to the wind and don't check what we're learning from. A great speaker of the current age said something very interesting, and he creates a beautiful picture with his words. He says, one should stand guard at the door to their mind. You know, it's so obvious to me when you hear it put that way about who we should be learning from. That it's not just about learning mindlessly, but we should be careful who it is we're putting on YouTube. We should be careful. Not that we should stop ourselves from learning, but we use it as an excuse to stop learning, but we should make a bit of effort to secure a truthful place from which we're learning. Stand guard at the door to your mind. If you think about it so logically, we lock our car doors. As we walk to the front door, we might even peer through the living room and press the button again and again, make sure the hazard lights flash again and again. We want to make sure our car's locked, right? Per chance someone might nick our phone charger. We lock our front doors. Have we ever had a thought about what we're putting into our mind? That when someone's talking negative words, even putting aside the Katha for a second, when we're in the company of someone constantly slandering people around us, have we ever thought that that might spiritually connect with us in a way that doesn't serve us? Sad Sangat Ji, if we want to stand guard to the door to our mind, the best way that we can learn is from that lineage which remains unbroken. And for me, not just tested in facts, but having done that research and having had a chance to read the Tika. Sad Sangat Ji, Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji's most famous work, if you will, is affectionately referred to within the panth, beautifully sort of given the title Pehli Poti, meaning the first Poti. Yeah? The Pehli Poti Tika is a wonderful text that explains the art of the core Baniya, if you will, like Japji Sahib Redas and Rakhyash, Kirtan Sohela. It's got all the Sakya you could ever imagine. And a couple of years ago, one of our brothers actually translated the whole Tika into English. My friends, this is something we have to have in our houses. The Tika is called, what do they call it in English? We should all have this in our house. This is something we should all have. If you just read one Sakhi a day, knowing that it's exactly translated as it should be, that all the facts are accurately recorded, and in this way we are having those teachings to share with our children and our families, you'll be so wonderfully brought closer to the Shabbat. How many of us have woke up and felt so far from Sikhi? Imagine if we read the Tika, not like a book, but we pick it up as an advisory tool, as an example of what choices we should make in our life, and we read it from a place of, where am I going to go? What guidance do I need today? Sadh Sangat Ji, in my humble opinion, there is no reason why we should not all have that Tika in our house. If you go to a Instagram page called Sikhi in Snippets, Sikhism, there's two, not that one, that's a rip-off site for another friend of mine. This one is Sikhism in Snippets. You can I've already told him he's going to expect loads of DMs today. If you message him and say, I want the Japji Sahib Tika from Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji Katha, Pindranwale, the one that's been written in English, he will mail it out to you. It is an amazing resource, and it has, in the most part, formed the foundation of most of which I share with you today. Most of which I share with you every time, in fact, when we do Katha. It's the foundation. Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji said to me that is something, that is all that you'll need. And at the time I thought, that doesn't make any sense to me, but it is a khajana. Khajana means treasure. So Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji Katha, Pindranwale's most prolific work, if you will, most famous work, which is probably the most accessible work to all of us now that it's been translated into English, I invite all of us that we take into our houses. When you get it, read it, come and talk to me. Tell me what it is that you've heard or read. And in that moment, we're not friends. We're going to be Sangat doing Vichar. Sadh Sangat Ji, if we want skin in the game, if we want to have the ability to talk about those things, we should be reading about those things. That when we're sitting in the Langar hall, we have that in our khajana to ask questions about. How wonderful it would be in the Q&A downstairs, when we're speaking about whatever we're speaking about, that one of the sings or the singing, I will say, I read in the Tika, and everybody knows what Tika we're talking about because we've got one Tika, the Peli Poti Tika. But Bhai Kabalaji did one Japji Sahib, and they X, Y, and Z, or Bhai Taru Singh Ji Shaheed did, they had their scalp removed and X, Y, Z, whatever it might be. And then all of a sudden, everyone's like, the Tika. So Sadh Sangat Ji, you came here to listen, and I'm saying as a humble benti, leave here to read. Let's bring that practice back into our houses that we're reading from the Tika, and then come and speak to me. Speak to each other about what you've read in the Tika of Sant Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji Khalsa, Pindranwale. So Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, as I was saying, massive departation there. Kartar Singh Premi, they say to Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, why is it that you know all of this? And they would explain, it would be understood that they had completed 500 Sahej parts. They had already heard the complete Katha of Guru Granth Sahib Ji from Sant Sundar Singh Ji 4 times. They had done over 3 million Mool Mantar da part. Over 125,000 Japji Sahib da part. They were completely attuned with the Shabbat. On one occasion, in the village, in a Pend, the name escapes me now, they would walk into the room where they're staying after doing Katha in the evening. And they would call the Singhs. And they'd say, Singho, why have you written Gurbani all over these walls? That's great disrespect. We should be careful where we put Gurbani, because there can be disrespect. People could be doing disrespectful things in those rooms. Why have you got Gurbani on the walls? The Singhs are confused. They say, Maharaj, we can't see any Gurbani on the walls. And Guru Sant Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji would explain, can't you see this arth here, this pankti here? And they were only visible to Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji because everywhere they looked, all they could see was Gurbani. And even that which was not visible to the Singhs was there to be seen. Guru Maharaj says, Jo mana dekhe, par mana tesa. Jo mana dekhe, par mana tesa. Jaisi mansa, tesi dasa. Jaisi mansa, whatever you fill your mind with, whatever your thoughts are that you conjure every day, be the negative thoughts of people that you sit on, that you think about, that you thrive upon. Jaisi mansa, whatever thoughts that you conjure, that you cultivate, that you feed, Jaisi mansa, tesi dasa. That will determine what you see. That will determine what you see in this world. Sadh Sangat Ji, how many examples do we see where two people are in the same situation many a time, and one person is very happy in that situation, and another is very, very down? It's like, how can you be so happy we're in the same situation? Because depending on their own experience will determine what they see in that situation. So Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, they would see Gurbani where others could not see. On another occasion, Sadh Sangat Ji, Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji Khasa Pindrawale, they go to Chamkaur Sahib. Chamkaur Sahib is the place where Baba Ajit Singh Ji and Baba Jajar Singh Ji, the two eldest sons of Guru Gobind Singh, they became Shaheed. Along with Bhai Himmat Singh Ji, Bhai Mohkam Singh and Bhai Sahib Singh, three of the Panj Pyaare, three of the very first Panj Pyaare, they became Shaheed. They were in one of the greatest battles, if not the greatest battle that has ever taken place, where 40 Singhs stood against 1.8 million Mughal soldiers in Hindu Hill Rajya and were victorious. In that battle, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj would send Baba Ajit Singh Ji and Baba Jajar Singh Ji out onto the battlefield. Bhai Daya Singh Ji would say to Maharaj, you can't send your sons. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji would give the Sikhi, what of all the others that I'm sending out? Are they not my sons? Giving us that teaching that the Khalsa is most beloved to the Guru. The Khalsa is second to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, second to none. Sadh Sangat Ji, if you want to feel close to the Guru, make steps, make moves towards taking Amrit. If you want to feel close to the Guru, follow in the path that Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji was not excused of, that Guru Gobind Singh Ji themselves was not excused of, and accept the hukum of the Guru, which is to take Amrit and come into the Khalsa Panth. Akhusata Naam Sri. Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, they go to Chamkaur Sahib and they find there's a Boli Sahib there, which is like a, how would you describe a Boli Sahib? It's like a dug out face, it's like an enclave within the ground that's dug out, which is below the ground surface that you can sit in, which allows you to do tapasya. And you won't be seen because you're just below the ground height. But Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, they fill that Boli Sahib with water and they submerge themselves in that body and they start doing tapasya there. And something very miraculous happens. They submerge themselves in that water up to their neck. The water serves only one purpose, to prevent them getting tired. There was no like spiritual purpose to the water. It was just there as an aid to keep them awake. From 8 p.m. till 4 a.m., they would do the jap of Japji Sahib over and over again in Anand. And during this time, they had darshan of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj themselves. And it is said that when Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj came towards Guru Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, that when they touched them with their fingertips, they went completely into Anand. And they lost all desire, or not desire because they didn't have any desire anyway, but they lost all attachment, if you will, to the world. And in the Katha, which you can listen to online, on a website, Gyan Kirna on YouTube, you can listen to it yourself. I was just blown away. That some of the Gursikhs that were there in the company of Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, Maharaj explains to them afterwards, they say, I went into such Anand that I decided to leave all of this worldly affairs behind. And they start walking towards the mountains of Girpur Sahib. Sadh Sangat Ji, listen very carefully. They start going into the mountains. We're going to go into the mountains and leave all of the worldly affairs behind. And they happen upon this pathway that leads into the mountain. When they go into that pathway, Sadh Sangat Ji, Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji afterwards, they're narrating this to the Singhs. Giani Mohan Singh Ji is there at the time. And another Gursikh, Singh, Pandit Singh is there as well. And they go into this mountain. It gets very, very dark. They keep going into this mountain until they come out the other side. As they're going through the mountain, they're thinking, it's so pitch black, maybe we should turn around and come back. As they're thinking this thought, the Khalsa is taught never to retreat, never to return. And they hear a voice calling out, Mahapur ko bhi agge toro, keep going. And eventually, Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, they come out the other side, and there's this beautiful sarovar there, and the sunlight is beaming down, and they see these very strange, very tall people that are there. There are these beautiful trees all around, and there's shastar hanging from those trees. And Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, they're a little bit uncertain what to do in this scenario. And as they walk forward, Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, they speak these words. They explain as their face, the way that their face is described, their face is completely like red with passion, as explaining the feeling of how they're feeling in the company of these people. As they go forward, one of the Singhs, one of the people that are there, they call out their name. They say, Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, come over here. The Singh says to Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, are you shocked by the fact that we know your name? You might be shocked that we know your name, but we're shocked that you don't recognize your own. And Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, they say, Maaf karna Singh Sahib, I don't recognize you. And they say, allow me to tell you who I am. I am Banda Singh Bahadur. Over there, sitting beneath the tree. That is the Mukhi of the Taksal. That is Baba Deep Singh Ji that is sitting there. That is by Mani Singh Ji. That is by Taru Singh Ji. These are from the words of Giani Mohan Singh Ji themselves. One of the most, again, there could be kathas, and there are in fact many kathas of Giani Mohan Singh Ji. This katha which I'm sharing with you now is from Sant Giani Hari Singh Ji Randawe Wale, who's going to be coming here next month. They are currently probably the most respected katha vajik in the panth. One of the most respected katha vajiks in the panth. And they're going to be coming here in July, in August, September to do katha. So this is their katha. They're hearing this from the mouth of Pandit Singh and Giani Ji, who I've just spoke of. They say, you might be shocked that we know your name. We're shocked that you don't recognize us. And Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, they say to Maharaj, they said to Baba Banda Singh Bahadur, they say, I'm confused. You were Shaheed. The things that you speak of, Baba Deep Singh Ji, Bhai Taru Singh Ji, Bhai Mani Singh Ji, they're Shaheed. How is it that they're here? I don't understand. Please, can you explain? And Banda Singh Bahadur, they start laughing. They say, first, before we do Gurmukh Vichar, you're going to eat something first. And they prepare food. That is the way, that is the riti of the house of the Guru, that we serve the Sangat Langar. So they made food. Again, that is a topic in its own right. I can't go into it. Suffice to say that Giani Gurbachan Singh says that what the food that was made was unlike anything they've ever eaten before. They have that langar that is prepared by Banda Singh Bahadur and the Singhs. And Giani Gurbachan Singh, they repeat their question again. The question that they repeat is, how is it that if you're Shaheed that you're with us right now? And the Singhs explain that if you're a Premi Gursikh and you recite Gurbani, if you're a Premi Gursikh and you have lived within the Raith, or you have fought in the battles, you become Shaheed. They give different examples of one that is Raithban, one who's lived having lived completely in the following of the teachings of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. When you leave your body, two Gursikhs, two Premi Gursikhs will come and get you, and they will take you to Sachkhand. They will take you there. On the doorsteps of Sachkhand, they will ask you a question. Are you Santokh? Are you completely fulfilled? Or do you have desire to do more seva? And when that question is asked of you, if you say that you are completely in Anand, and there's no more desire that you have within you, then you will go to Sachkhand, that place which is the highest padavi, the highest place. Sachkhand vase nirankar, where Parmeshwar Vaheguru, where Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj resides. But if you have desire to do seva, then you get sent here with us. And so the Gursikhs that are here, their ichcha is to do seva. Our shastra is ready to be used. Our nagara, they point out the nagara, the war drums. They go, a time will come when you say these words within the panth, when you say Raj Karega Khalsa, that time will come when there will be Raj of the Khalsa panth of Guru Gobind Singh Ji within this earth. And when that time comes, we will walk out of the same pathway that you have walked in. But we can't leave this place until that time. Sadh Sangat Ji, to finish up this, there was so much more that I wanted to share with you. So much more. The khajana of Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji is ever flowing, but time is against us. The Shaheed Singhs, they say to Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, they say, we've all requested for that seva. Without the blessings of those mothers that prepared themselves, we go back full circle to Mata Anand Kaur. Mata Anand Kaur, the mother of Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, what was their nityanem? They would do 25 Japji Sahib a day. They were Amritari. They were Retwan. They were completely Agyakari to Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. Sadh Sangat Ji, let's have a little look. We need to give up this fear that we've got to validate the company of peoples whose opinion just don't matter. They're holding us back from making moves. We know what we've got to do. And we're holding ourselves back. We're holding ourselves back on the bathroom hooks of people that have got no value in our future destiny. Let's have a little look about who we look to for validation and whether their opinion counts in the reflection of Guru Gobind Singh Ji's that might take us further forward. And this is a benti, it's all on the mothers. Everywhere else they're speaking about unequal rights and how there's not enough opportunity there. Sadh Sangat Ji, let's have it straight. It's all with our mothers. The khajana is theirs to bear out upon this world. There is no child in this world that has got gun that cannot attribute that gun back to their mothers. In fact, Sadh Sangat Ji, when Sant Jarnail Singh Ji Khalsa Pindramwale, when they were blessed with darshan of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, they begged for Mata Sahib Deva. Say Mata Sahib Deva. Mata Sahib Deva gave them darshan, and Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj was not there. And Sant Jarnail Singh Ji Khalsa Pindramwale, they would say to Mata Sahib Deva Ji, they would say to their mother in the Khalsa Panth sense, they would say, Mata Ji, please ask my father to allow me to have their darshan. Even the darshan of Guru Gobind Singh Ji to Sant Jarnail Singh Ji was facilitated by the female energy of the Khalsa Panth. Akho Sat Naam Siri. Even in speaking of the greatness of Sant Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji Khalsa Pindramwale, we have spent so much of the time speaking of the female energy of our mothers. What kind of children are we going to bear into this world if we have no Nityanem? If the Japji Sahib is not resounding within our homes, where is Brahm Gyan going to come from? Japji Sahib is the giver of Brahm Gyan. If the Sukhmani Sahib Ashtpatis are not being read in the houses, where is the Sukh going to come to the mind from? How is it going to perpetuate within the mind? And yet we look to our homes and wonder why they're sullen. Maharaj says, what are we doing in our houses? What are we seeing in our houses? We're seeing alcohol, man. It's so far from where we are right now. When we're talking about such spiritual greatness, what does Maharaj say? They say, Durmat mad jo pivate, bikhli pat kamali, ram rasayan jorate, nanak sach amali. I use that now as a massive contrast to finish on. Why? Because we're going to go out of this darbar. We can't go back. We have to go forward. Maharaj says, Durmat mad jo pivate, sings. I'm sorry to gun it today. We're giving all the praise to the mothers because it's there to be had based on history, right? Maharaj says, Durmat mad jo pivate. They say if you're drinking alcohol in your houses, Durmat mad jo pivate. If you have mad, alcohol within your minds, Durmat mad jo pivate, bikhli pat kamli. What you're doing is you're creating the energy in that house that when a woman joins your house, she will be a prostitute. Because the energy, the vibration of the house you're creating, to match that energy, which is what a woman will do. They will make the best of the scenario that we give. We can give a house, and that home will be made from whatever house we give, right? Maharaj says, Bikhli pat kamali. That if you drink alcohol as a man, you're creating the energy of a place where the woman that joins that house, she will be a prostitute. They use a worse word. I'm just trying to tone it down for the darbars so we don't get cancelled next week, yeah? Or next month. Ram rasayan jorate nanak sach amali. They said, be a sacha amali. You want to be a true amali? Get drunk on the Naam, or the name of Parmeshwar Vaheguru. Akho Sat Naam Siri. Ram rasayan jorate nanak sach amali. And Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, they would drink in that Naam. They would give us these teachings. And they would explain, the Singhs would say to Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji, when you leave this place and you go back into this world, sing graciously, Raj karega Khalsa, Raj karega Khalsa, Raj karega. Because the Singhs are there, waiting to be born into this world. The question is, whose houses are they going to come? And what small part are we going to be blessed with to facilitate that journey? I'm going to say that again. The Singhs are going to come anyway. They've been given the hukum. They've come to this second place just below Sachkhand. They're waiting. The Khalsa Panth is always diyar. They're coming anyway. What small part are we going to be blessed to have a chance to play in that care if we involve ourselves in the Nityan of the Guru? So Satsanga Ji, there is so much more to share. Maybe if we're blessed, we're going to come back and have a chance to share some more from the life of Sant Giani Gurbachan Singh Ji Khalsa Pindramwale. Buy the book, man. Read the book and talk to me about the book. Talk to each other about what you're reading in the Tika. Let's change it from Netflix to the Tika at least 2-3 times a week. Read it in your houses. Have the excitement of what will flow. So Satsanga Ji, you are the Sangat of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. Thank you for coming and giving us your blessings. It's so wonderful to see you every time. So once again, if I've made any mistakes, I ask for your forgiveness. I'm looking forward to hopefully catching you downstairs in the Q&A.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Please donate and help spread Guruji's message. Link is in the description below. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.